afternoon and good evening to you. It's going to be Tube. Hope you're all today. Hope you're feeling grand. And elsewhere in your world, hello there. Welcome to another Q&A Wednesday, everybody. Let's get to question one, shall we? Question one today is, if you owned no guitar amps and had a budget of $800 to $900, which amp would you buy? Would it be a cab and a head or some kind of combo? Right, if I didn't own an amp, what would I go for? I don't know, there's quite a lot of amps I would go for. It would probably have to be a head and a cab, because I love that combination the most. I do love combo amps, but not as much as I love 4x12 cabs and heads. Especially 100 watt heads. The evilness and the fun. But yeah, on a serious note, it would have to be a head and a cab. If I had that much money to spend, I would have to get a head and a cab. And it would either be... Sorry about that, everybody. Got rudely interrupted by a delivery man. Anyway, moving along. Where was I? Yes, the amp I would pick. I bet you can't guess what I'm going to say. Yeah, it would have to be a JCM 900 cab. And it would either be a CR120 or a Marshall MG 100. The old ones, the HDFX ones. Is there any... I mean, for that price, I could probably get loads of Katanas as well, and loads of PV Bandits. But I think what I would have to buy if I had that price, it'd either be a CR120 or a Marshall MG, one of the old ones, and a 4x12 Marshall cab, like the JCM 900, which is my favourite cab of all time, bar none. It's just these cabs here, which I've had forever, are just like my go-to. But yeah, it'd be one of them. It'd be one of them. I mean, as much as I probably would love either getting like getting a 212 100 watt Katana or a PV Bandit Red Stripe or a CR60 or any other countless kind of amp. Can't think of any others. Any of them kind of really. I think if I was given the choice, if I didn't have any amp and it was just kind of like amp for me to have fun with, it'd be one of them or it'd be one of them with one of these, definitely. Because that's where I'm most at home, especially through one of these, because I've played MGs since 2004. Yeah, I've been playing through Marshall MGs since 2004. Yeah, I've been right. it's just like, that's my home, so to say. That's where I found that sound, so to say. That was in here, because before that I had my PV Rage and my Carlsberg GLX 100. But as soon as I found that Marshall MG, I was sold. And then like 2 years later, when I discovered just running everything through the Overdrive channel on OD1 on these things was like my special place, I was just like, that's it for me. I'm sold. And it wasn't until the CR120 came along that I actually started looking into other amps, because I wasn't interested. Why I've got so many MGs? I was just buying the MGs, because like I said, like I've said in videos before, creature of habit. I like, once I find something that works for me and I love, I just stay with it. I don't deviate really. It's only recently I've started talking to different amps and just kind of, you know, just things here and there, and then stuff like, you know, the Katana and the PV Bandits and stuff like that, and the CR60, just to kind of like alleviate my back when it comes to carrying 412s to gigs, because I'm getting old now. I'm haggard. By the time I'm 50, I'm gonna be like this. Yes, welcome to another Q&A Wednesday. But yeah, I'll be like that, doubled over and very ill and no teeth. But anyway, that's the future. Let's talk about now. But yeah, that's what I would go for. I always digress, don't I? I always go off on mad tangents. Anyway, yeah, it would be a CR120 or a Marshall MG 100 with a JSM 900 cab. And you could probably get one of those setups for about... Well, you can pick up BMGs for about 80 to 100 quid, depending on condition. And the Marshall cabs, I bought both mine for 150 each, and they go for about that. So, I mean, that's below... That's about 300 quid. And then with the CR120, it's a little bit more expensive, because the CR120 is about $400, I think. It's quite an expensive amp. That would knock it up a bit more, like. But that's what I would go for. Long-winded answer to you know, what could have been a very, very simple, straightforward thing. But where's the fun in that, everybody? I tells you. Anyway, I hope that's answered the question. That's what I would go for. People of the tube, if you had a budget of $800 to $900 / pounds, I know that doesn't kind of convert, but let's just stick to it for this time being. What amp would you go for, and why? And would it be a head and a cab, or would it be a combo? Let me know, and this fellow know in the the comment section below. Okay, so I hope it's answered your question. Moving on to question 2 now. Did John Frusciante use a noise gate for his DS2? No, he didn't. No. I get asked this question a lot, like, you know, people saying, "Oh, well, the DS2 it just screams at me," like that. Oh, that's a lot of reverb on there still. No, but John didn't use a noise gate. What John? I've sort of spoken about it before, so I'll just touch on it briefly again. Is John would turn on the DS2 when he needed it and turn it off when he didn't need it, and other than that, he would ride his volume control, so you just get amp hiss like that. But when you're playing a festival or a stadium gig, like they did, with however many thousands of people screaming, this noise, you don't really hear it that much. You can hear it at the beginning. Bizarre Fest 1999. If you watch that before Suck My Kiss, you can hear it because he's got chorus on it and it's doing this sound. It's got this kind of like modulating sound, and they're doing that. And he does that. That's still loads of reverb. Oh, I see. I must because I'm on chorus with reverb. Okay, so anyway. But yeah, he doesn't use noise gate. He just turns it on when he needs it, turns it off when he doesn't need it, or rides his volume control. And like I say, the hiss, at this point in time, is quite pronounced because I'm in a quiet room. There's nobody else about. There's no external noise. It's just what you can hear. So that's quite loud. But the moment you get into a live situation, like a pub gig or a proper gig, or even stadium gigs, that's going to be nothing. That's going to be no noise whatsoever on that one. So you're not going to hear it over people screaming. So yeah, it's just a case of turning it off and on when you need it. Or you can just do the Kurt Cobain thing and just let it feed back. You because Kurt did that all the time. He'd just walk up to his DS2 or his DS1 or his Sans amp later on, but and just whatever, he just. God, I love feedback. Feedback is one of the best things in the world. I absolutely adore it. Okay, so so how about answer your question? Like I said, he doesn't have a noise gate. No, I've never seen one on his board. I've never seen one in his backup rack unit where he had his backup Silver Jubilee and backup Marshall Major. So no, there was no noise gates. John was fairly old school when it came down to effects. It was, everything was in the front end of the amplifiers, no effects loops. His amps didn't have effects loops. Or did the Silver Jubilee have an effects loop? I don't actually know. I don't know. But he didn't use it if he did. But yeah, it's, everything's in the front end. There would be a fair bit of noise coming from his setup, but again, like I say, you're not going to hear that when you're playing a stadium or outside to thousands of people. So yeah, there's no noise gate. It's just a case of turning it on when you need it, turn it off when you don't need it. There's no kind of there's no real kind of secret to it really. If it screams at you and you don't want it, just turn it off and then turn it back on when you need it. Oh, a good example of this is Slaying Castle Other Side. In the bit before the guitar solo, after the third verse, when it does that breakdown bit, you can see John. There's a great shot of Flea, and it goes down the stage. You can see Flea, Anthony, and then there's John. And you can see John with his foot hovering over the DS2 he's using for his Gretsch. And you can see him turn it on when he needs it, and then immediately turn it off, and then turn it on, and then turn it off. So that's what he's doing. You also see it at the end of Scar Tissue, at the AOL sessions in 2006. The last solo, he switches from his fuzz pedal to whatever fuzz pedal it is, either a Big Muff or the Mosrite. He switches from that mid-solo to his DS2 and finishes with the DS2. And you can see at the end of it, the camera's like over there and it kind of pans out. And you can see John just go and quickly turn off the DS2 after, just to keep everything quiet. There's no kind of external noise, so he's like, and immediately just turns it off and everything's happy again. So yeah. I hope that's answered your question. Move on to question 3 now. Do you listen to folk guitarist Bert Jansch, John Redbourne, and Davey Graham? Not really, no. They're really, really cool guitar players, don't get me wrong. But they're not really on my radar, so to say. I like, the folk guitarists I like are people like Martin Carthy and Martin Simpson. It's all the Martins. And there was an amazing blues guitarist called Ben Andrews, who's unfortunately no longer with us. But he was an amazing, amazing blues guitarist. But yeah, I don't really listen to Bert Jansch or David Graham. I do like some of David Graham stuff, but not a lot of it. I've heard a few things of his, and same with Bert Jansch and thingy. But yeah, I really like Martin Carthy's playing over them all. He's like my favourite folk guitarist, really, because he's got this weird tuning. It's like it's an altered open C tuning, and it's just really awesome. So I would highly recommend, if anybody doesn't know or hasn't checked out Martin Carthy, check him out, because his guitar playing and his singing and his guitar style is awesome. Really is awesome. Check out a song called Sauvé. There's no time signature to it. It's free time. It's a free time song. So you don't have... It's not in 4/4, it's not in 3/4. It is not in any time signature. So Martin Carthy, Sauvé, it's an amazing, amazing song. It's an old folk song that he plays, and it's just incredible. So yeah, that's my favourite folk guitarist, and as I just love his playing, and it's just really, really cool. But I don't really listen to those three that much, no, if at all. It's they're really, really good, but I don't. Over other people, I'm gonna listen to them first before I kind of get to them, so to say. It's like if somebody said, you're gonna you know, who are you gonna listen to first? This, and this, and it's like, you know, you have to go with what feels right to you, so to say. So yeah. But I have heard, you know, I have heard a lot of Davey Graham. My brother's a big fan of Davey Graham. But yeah, I don't really listen to him that much, to be honest with you. It's more, yeah, more Martin Carthy stuff than kind of on the folk kind of thing and that, really. Is there any others? Say Martin Simpson's unreal. Martin Simpson is an unreal guitarist. I missed out on meeting him when he used to come to Old Hat Guitars every now and again to buy and trade gear, and he came in one week and I wasn't there, and it was very annoying. Because I'd love to have met him, but yeah, such is life. Plus, he's got the last name as me. Anyway, yeah. So I hope that's answered your question on that. I'm going to move on to question 4 now, everybody. Cracking on through these today. Question 4. Would the WH10 be a good option for Jimi Hendrix? No. Not really, no. For the simple... you said, is it a better option over the Vox? No, the Vox is the ultimate Jimi Hendrix wah-wah pedal. Especially the silver top, the V847. I think that's what it's called, the V847. It's a silver top wah. It's fairly inexpensive. It's like 60 quid. I don't know what that equates to in dollars or euros, but or wherever you are. But there's certain things that the Vox does that the Ibanez will never be able to do, such as, like, for instance, on the Vox, under the foot pedal, the bit you manipulate, there's 2 rubber feet, and Jimmy would always remove them. He would take them off, simply so he could do the and you can't do it the Ibanez, but in Voodoo Child Slight Return, where he does the that thing where it's going wow, 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 wow. That's Jimmy turning the wah pedal off and on really quick. Like wow, 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 wow. That's what that is. And you can only do that if you remove the feet, and you can only really do that on that Vox, because the button springs the pedal back up and you can just like tap it with your foot. It's really hard to do, but it's an awesome effect. And also the Ibanez, even with the gain turned down, it doesn't quite have the right kind of wah sound. I mean, it sounds pretty close to kind of Voodoo Child, but wow, I'm touching the gain dial on the Ibanez wah. I don't think I've done that since I bought it. But if I turn kind of down to half, it's still not quite. It doesn't feel right for that kind of wah. It doesn't quite have the right growl, so to say. That's probably not the right word, but it doesn't seem to have the right tone. Let's say with the Ibanez wah's inbuilt kind of like boost, it's too dirty. You know, it needs to be cleaner, and the Vox wah-wah pedals, the V847, I think that's what it is. I need to get that written down on a bit of paper on like a cheat sheet on the wall so I remember what it's called, because I'm a bit stupid. But anyway, but yeah, that is a very clean wah-wah sound. You can't really do Burning Midnight Lamp with the Ibanez wah. It doesn't quite have the right kind of tone and right sound. It doesn't have the right wah for Jimmy. So I wouldn't really recommend the Ibanez wah for Jimi Hendrix stuff. I would go with the Vox. It's what Jimmy used. It has a more clean wah sound, and it's just a lot more. It's a lot more versatile to that Jimi Hendrix style than the Ibanez. The Ibanez does what it does, and does it really well, but it doesn't do everything. The Vox actually is the Vox wah pedal. That silver top one is actually my favorite wah of all time, because it is so versatile. It does so much. It does the Ibanez wah thing. You can kind of like, you know, get a pseudo Ibanez wah thing. It's not 100% perfect, but it's close enough for me. And it does the Jimi Hendrix thing. It does the crazy John Frusciante wah trick. Does kind of crazy kind of Kirk Hammett kind of wahs. So yeah, if you're after a wah for Jimi Hendrix stuff, I would stick with the Vox over the Ibanez personally. The Ibanez is amazing, but it's more of that kind of John Frusciante. It's more of that kind of thing, but than Jimi Hendrix. Really, to be honest with you, it's really. It's really cool, but it's just got a bit more, too much grind for that Jimi Hendrix thing. So yeah, I would stick with the Vox, especially the silver top one, the really inexpensive one. It just rules. It's so cool. Okay, so yeah, I hope that's answered your question. Moving on to question 5 now. What are your thoughts on the Voice of the World speakers from Orange? Is it worth swapping it out? Yeah, losing my plectrum. Catch. Voice of the World speakers, I've got them in this orange cab here. The orange compact. I really like the Voice of the World speakers, but not as much as I like the Celestion 75s in this cab. I find the Voice of the World speakers have a certain harshness to them. They're a lot like vintage 30s or greenback 25 watt speakers. They've got this frequency that I can hear that I don't like, and it's like a real buzzy kind of frequency that these speakers have. I've experienced it with vintage 30s, greenback 25 watts, and the Voice of the World speaker, which I think is what the Voice of the World speaker is kind of modelled on anyway. But yeah, I personally think the CR120 and the CR60 respond better with Celestions. Myself, in my opinion, for whatever that's worth, because I've got a Celestion Heritage speaker, 75 watt Heritage speaker in my CR60. And whenever I use my CR120, I don't really use the cab that much. I use it off and on. But I mainly just run it through my JCM 900 cabs because I like this smoother response. I like the smoother sound. It just sounds nicer to my ear. So I would, if it were me, I would change it out for something like a Celestion 75T. Excuse me. The one with the white and black sticker on the back. But it all comes down to taste, really. Like I said, I don't really get on with vintage 30s and 25 watt Celestions and to say the Voice of the World speaker. I don't mind them at all. I'm more than happy to use them. But if I was given the choice to be, a bit snobby with speakers, it'd have to be the 75 watts I've got in these cabs here, or the Heritage speaker I've got in there. Personally, I would like one of these speakers in the CR60, but unfortunately I don't have a spare. That's the only spare one I had. So, but yeah, I think a Celestion speaker makes the, especially 75 watt, makes the amp respond smoother and more warm, and just like in general brings out more of the amp's character than the Voice of the World speaker. So if it was me, I would change it, but that's my opinion. But if you do have the ability to change it out, try it, see if you like it. If you don't, change it back. Changing speakers is really easy. It's like one of the easiest things in the world to do to see your amps. It's really cool, unless you've got 4x12s, then it's a little bit more complex. But if you've got like, I think you said you had a CR60. I could be wrong in that because I'm a bit stupid and I forget things. But yeah, if you got a CR60, just change out the speaker, see how you feel about it. Okay, I just had two very strange camera glitches then. First, it just turned itself off, and then another one was it just turned off the room mics. Don't you start, Mr. Zoom camera. I haven't had you long enough for you to be messing up like that. Okay, anyway, back to the question at hand. That's going to put me on edge now for the entire video. But anyway, could be to do with the battery. I don't know. Anyway, we'll get back to the question. But yeah, I would recommend maybe changing the speaker if you can, just to see if you prefer it. If you don't, stick to the Voice of the World. Voice of the World speakers do sound better once they're broken in. But I've had this cab for as long as I've had the CR120, and it's very broken in. But there's still that frequency that I don't really like in those speakers. So yeah, I mean, I would recommend. I personally always say to people, like, you want a Celestion speaker in it. Really, respond and sound better with the amp. They bring out more of the amp's potential, so to say. So yeah. I hope that's answered your question. I'm going to move on to good gravy. Final question of the day, everybody. Final question of the day. Question 6. Yeah, question 6. I was going to put the paper up there without me reading the question. That'd have been clever, wouldn't it? Question 6. Anyway, Steve Ray Vaughan had a dream where he played with Jimi Hendrix. Have you had a similar dream with one of your heroes? Yes, I've had 2. Number 1, the first dream I had was about Jimi Hendrix, oddly enough. It's kind of weird, as dreams tend to be, but I was learning Little Wing at the time, and this is how weird this dream is. And I remember I was dreaming. I was in a, for some reason, Jimi Hendrix was in a local food takeaway shop that's about 5 minutes from my house, and he was in there, sat on one of these red plastic chairs at a table, and we were sat at the table, and I had my white Fender. And I don't remember what we were talking about. I just remember we were nattering, and he was kind of like sat over both seats, kind of sprawled, so to say, kind of relaxed, kind of sprawled across these seats. And he asked me, he said, "Can I, you know?" And I must have said something about Little Wing. I don't know, but either way, he asked for my guitar, and he was. And again, dream's been weird. He was playing the guitar the right way up. As I remember, yeah, he was. He was playing the guitar right way up. So he was technically, like, right-handed. Which is a bit strange, to say the least. But he was playing it. And I remember him saying the secret to Little Wing is to keep the bass notes down. So when you're... Sorry, Jimmy, for that horrendous chord I just played there. But speaking about Jimmy in a good light, and then I go and do that. Clever, isn't it? Anyway, but yeah, he said the key was to. I remember him saying it like really clearly in my head, like you need to keep the bass notes down when you're playing the chords to give the notes the context. I don't know if he used the word context, but he says you gotta keep the bass note down. But he wasn't playing Little Wing. He was playing something else, and I have no idea. I have no recollection of what he was playing whatsoever. But he was doing stuff like. So he was playing stuff like that in that really cool Curtis Mayfield, Jimi Hendrix style. And, but I say he wasn't playing Little Wing, but I think I was asking him about Little Wing, but I don't honestly remember because it's just really kind of vague in my mind. As dreams tend to be, especially when you want to remember something. When you're dreaming and you want to remember something, odds are you'll never remember it. But I do remember him saying you've got to keep the bass notes down when you're playing Little Wing and stuff like that to give. He didn't use the word context, but that's what he kind of like was on about. To give the twiddly dums and the diddly dums even, and all that kind of stuff context and to keep those bass notes down. So that was one dream. I actually just remembered another dream. I had a dream about John Frusciante actually, but it wasn't really John talking to me. I'll tell you about it in a minute. But that was my Jimi Hendrix dream, and I just remember he was like, we kept nattering, and he just kept playing, and it was amazing. And even though he wasn't plugged in, it had that sound of the guitar was plugged in. So it was a bit weird. But, you know, dreams are. But it was really cool, and I remember, like, waking up thinking, right, okay, I hear you, Jimmy. I hear you. So it was from that point on, I always wanted to keep the thumb over the top doing the bass notes. You know, it kind of sealed the deal for me on my thumb, really, so to say. You know, Jimi Hendrix approaches you in your dream, you know, tells you to keep doing that. You know, you do it. But yeah, so that was one dream I had. Another dream I had was Kurt Cobain. This was in, I don't know where we were, but it was like this dingy rehearsal room. And I remember it was really like low lit. It wasn't very very brightly lit. And I can't remember for the life of me what we were talking about. But I remember we were talking. And I remember him turned around and said, I've got a song to show you. And it was just me and him. And he started playing this song. And again, it was like just this stereotypical Nirvana song. If I could remember it, I could probably write it and make, like, you know, millions. But haha, you're right. But yeah, he started playing this song. It's, you know, it had Kurt's name written all over it. It just had this sound to it. And I was like, that's amazing. I remember I was just sat on the floor cross-legged looking at him. Like, and he was just like, and he was just playing this song. And I was like, that's really cool. Like, you know, there was something, you know, this song was cool. And I was like, gotta remember this. Didn't at all. Can't remember it at all. Don't remember anything about that, what he played. But the weird thing was, it was just me and him in there. But it sounded like there was a full band. It sounded like there was drums and bass. And he was singing as well. He sang and played this song. And I was just like, wow, that's amazing. And I can see it so clear in my head him playing this song. And it was almost from like a third person perspective. Like I was seeing me and him. But then I would see it from my perspective. It was like almost like flitting camera angles, so to say. It's very strange. Very odd. But yeah, I can remember that. But I can't remember for the life of me the song, which is very upsetting. Like I said, I can't remember what Jimi Hendrix was playing. But yeah, I remember remember him just playing this song and finishing it and just saying, what do you think? And I don't remember anything other than that. I just remember we were in this dingy rehearsal room. He played that song, asked me what to think, and that's all I can remember. It's like the Jimi Hendrix dream. I don't remember what happened in bits. I can only remember that short kind of like, you know, that little split second of it, so to say. So it's really strange. The John Frusciante one's even weirder. Me and my brother were trying to figure out Under the Bridge. We saw the Chili Peppers live on Top of the Pops. It was like a Top of the Pops special in 2003? Yeah, it must have been 2003. And they did Under the Bridge, and that was the first time I'd ever heard Under the Bridge. And I've ever heard that kind of guitar style. It's the first time I'd heard that kind of playing, and I was just entranced by it. And that was when I immediately became a John Frusciante fan. So I was like 1 year into playing guitar pretty much. And I've still got the VHS video. I filmed it off Top of the Pops, filmed it off the TV of. But I remember like me and my brother sat there forever trying to figure it out, trying to figure out the intro. Which back then, trying to get your hand into that position and then do you know, all the runs into this chord was just like, it was just like, you know, that's not going to happen. So it kind of went like this. It was kind of like that and terrible. Got a recording of it somewhere. But anyway, we were figuring it out, but we got to the end bit where it kind of, out of the second chorus, it comes to that bit where it's like. Oh, I'm peeking out the camera there, so I do apologise on that. But I forgot that patch is louder. But anyway, got to that bit, and me and my brother were like, because there was this shot of John, the camera was like there, and you could see he was doing something with his hand on that chord, and only playing guitar for a year, I had no idea what he was doing. And I remember watching the video at night before I went to bed. I was watching it like, what's he doing? Because we had pretty much the entire kind of song sussed out. We didn't, but we thought we did. And I just was like, what is he doing? What is he doing there? Because I couldn't hear the difference between the major and the minor chord then, because I'd only been playing a little bit over a year, I think, at that point. So I had no idea that was a major and that was a minor. I had no clue. But I knew this shape because I'd been shown the shape, and I just knew it was a power chord. And in all fairness, I was probably playing it like that. Trying to remember now, but that doesn't really matter. But I remember in my dream, John didn't talk to me. He just showed me that what you do is you play that chord and then you just lift your finger off. And I remembered it so well that the next morning I woke up and I picked up my Squire, and lo and behold, I did that. Probably like this. And I was like, oh, that's it. And I ran downstairs and showed my brother, and to this day he can still remember that. And we were talking about it actually not so long ago. Like, he can remember, like, what was I? Oh yeah, because we were just messing around on the our old Squire, because me and my brother went halves on it. And we were talking about that, of how it kind of like came to me in a dream of how to play that one bit, and that was that. And then we got to the next bit, those chords, which took us another couple of years to figure out, because again we had no internet, we had no YouTube. It was just, and we didn't have access to the internet in any way, shape or form. So it was like, you had to watch that video and try and figure out what he was doing, and listen and use your ears, kind of thing, so to say. So but yeah, that was another thing. John didn't talk to me. It was just kind of like, it was almost like it was silent, and he was like going, it's like he wasn't actually pointing with a weird way like that, with a stupid look on his face. But it was that kind of thing, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But yeah, they're the three dreams I've had of people. I've said the Jimi Hendrix one, the Kurt Cobain one. The Kurt Cobain one felt the most real, if that makes any, as much as dreams feel real, if that makes any sense. When you have a really vivid dream and it just seems like you wake up and you're like, did that happen or did that not happen? The Kurt Cobain one feels the most real. The Jimi Hendrix one was almost otherworldly, and the John Frusciante one was odd in the fact that he didn't speak. Because I remember speaking to Jimmy and I remember speaking to Kurt, but I don't remember John speaking. It was like literally like maybe even like just a split second in my dream of him doing that chord change. But yeah, but the Kurt one felt the most interactively real life one, like it had happened. It's very strange. It felt like it had happened. It's very, very weird. The Jimi Hendrix one, although it was amazing and felt really cool, and waking up the next morning thinking I just dreamt about Jimi Hendrix telling me guitar advice, didn't feel as real. Didn't feel like it could have happened, if that makes any sense. It feels like, I don't know, it's really hard to put into words, but hopefully you know what I mean, if that makes any sense, as much as I can make sense, because I'm a bit of a waffler. But yeah, the Kurt Cobain one felt really real. It's like I was actually there with him. Like, I felt like I was actually there with Jimi Hendrix and John Frusciante, but not to the realism I was there with Kurt. It's very, 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 very odd dream. And to this day, that one sticks out in my mind more than the Jimi Hendrix and the John Frusciante dream, which is quite strange in considering Jimmy and John are more heroes to me and more influence on me than Kurt. The Kurt dream sticks out to me more. I relate a lot to Kurt, but not as much as I relate to Jimmy or John, and I haven't took a lot, if much, from Kurt, just the odd things here and there. So it's kind of strange how that one would stick in my mind more than the Jimi Hendrix one or the John Frusciante one. It's always usually the first. Today it was the first one that came to mind, but I wanted to tell the Jimi Hendrix one first. you know, I don't know why it just happened that way, but yeah, I hope that makes sense. I mean, like I say, the whole concept of dreams feeling real is balmy in its first place because they're not real. They're just they're just unconscious thought, basically, kind of in a way. But there's definitely something going on in dreams that kind of like, I don't know. There's just something in there. There's something in there. But yeah. But anyway, yeah, waffled on there for probably way too long about that. But yeah, I think that's all the questions today, everybody. Put that back. Yeah, is there anything else I can think of? No. I remember watching a documentary on Stevie Ray Vaughan, and his drummer, Chris Layton, had a dream about Stevie. And they were practicing in their old rehearsal room, and the door opened, and Stevie poked his head around. And he came in and plugged his guitar in and started playing, and they were playing, and it felt really good, he said. And it got to a point where Stevie just stopped playing, and he put his guitar down, walked off to the door, and that Chris Layton said, he said to him, like, where are you going? And he said, I've got to go. And that was after he died, and that's a really, really haunting, upsetting dream to have, especially somebody as close to Stevie as he was. That's hard to, that'd be quite hard to deal with. But it's dreams like that where there is something else going on there. It's hard to believe it's just like certain things. It's just like I don't know. I'm not. Start going into Inception here. A dream within a dream within a dream. But anyway, I hope that's answered your question. People of the Tube, have you had any dreams where your heroes have been a part of it? And what happened? Leave a comment in the section below and share your dreams with us all. Yeah, I think it's cool though. I love dreams like that. I really like dreams like that where you kind of like something happens that stays with you, because the Jimi Hendrix dream happened in about 2005, 2006. Yeah, it was 2005 actually. I'll tell a lie. It's 2005, and the John Frusciante dream happened in about 2003, 2004. Somewhere in there. I don't actually know, but I know for fact the Jimmy one was 2005, and the Kurt one was only a couple of years ago. That must have been about 2014-ish. Give or take. So, what they mean, I don't know, but it's cool. It's really cool. So, like I say, if you've had any of those kind of dreams, put a comment in the section below and let me know your hero dreams, because they're really cool. So yeah, I hope I asked your questions okay today, everybody. Yeah, and I've just realised there's a chocolate bar wrapper on there. We'll just get rid of that. Messy. Anyway. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this Q&A, everybody. I hope I answered your questions okay. And I'll see you again on Friday for another vid. Not sure what it's going to be yet. I've got a couple of ideas, but I don't know yet. Next week, I am going to demo the Zoom G2. A lot of people have asked me to demo it. And, this, that, and the other. So I am going to get to the Zoom G2 either Monday or most probably Friday next week. So that's going to happen then. But yeah, other than that, we will see. But yeah, have a great morning, afternoon, and good evening, everybody. And goodbye now. Have a great one.